Welcome to your Rally Point podcast. Organizations need a reason to exist, and people need a reason to care, but none of it matters if you can't connect the two. This podcast is where nonprofits, advocacy groups, and mission-driven organizations discover their rallying point. It is your go-to resource for mobilizing support, building authentic connections, and driving real results. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's rally together to create the impact you're meant to make. This is your Rally Point podcast, brought to you by rallycorp.com.
Hey, welcome to your Rally Point podcast, episode number 20. Today, Jack, we are live streaming because you know what? Why not? How are you, man?
I am great. We always do this little starting update. It's raining here in Seattle. I think it's raining down by you too.
It is. San Diego has some rain,
which is a good thing. And it's been a good, very busy tech week in the Seattle area, but also, as we'll talk about, kind of in the greater ecosystem of texting too.
That's right. So we are obviously going to talk about text messaging because when it comes to rallying people, I don't know if you know this, Jack, but you have to meet people where they are. And that is a fancy way of saying connect with them in the moment, right then and there. And what do you think everybody has with them all the time, if you had to guess?
Text messaging. And actually, I've just been making this statement, and I don't, this is anecdotal, but we all check our text messages on our phone every hour.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
Yep. Absolutely. The in the moment messaging on their phones with text messaging, and it's in the moment and on their phones for a couple of reasons. So let's just take it from the top. One, we have our phones with us all the time, right? Whether you like it or not, your phone's in your pocket. Number two, text messaging as it sets is the one app that comes installed out of the box. When you open that, the beautiful box, whether you get an Android or an iPhone, and that unveiling, the one app that comes on the home screen, preloaded, that's all ready to go, that doesn't require another account to be created or an authentication or some permissions to activate, is that little green messaging app on your iPhone or on your Android, and then it's up and running. So text messaging, it comes out of the box ready to go. Now, here's the question, Jack, and we talk a lot about this, and obviously it's RallyCorp, we trademarked the term human-centered texting. There's a right way to do this. So when we're talking about texting, folks, we're talking about permission-based, consent-based texting. We are not talking about, and do not sign up for Rally and do this because we will kick you off the platform. I booted a customer just a few weeks ago, a former customer, because they were using rented lists, and we don't do that, okay? You build permission-based text messaging by reaching out to people through various mediums, social media, email lists, existing relationships when they make a donation, and you get consent for text messaging, and you send them a message in the moment. Once you do that, you build a vibrant list. It's incredible, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but there's some changes coming with iOS, Jack, that I want you to kind of unpack for us. So sure. Take it from the top.
Sure. Yeah. So today, I think we talk about nonprofits because, RallyCorp is a nonprofit text messaging provider to nonprofit organizations. But the text messaging world of brands and your doctor's office and your oil change appointment reminder, all of those are brands sending a single person a text message. And that's been happening for about 15 years or more. We've been doing this for a long time. And people sign up for getting notifications for soccer practice and all these different things. All of those things are put into a channel, and I'll take it from the beginning, right? There's a software package on someone's computer, or they log in through a website, right? And they create the message, soccer practice at 5:00, or it's Taco Tuesday night at the local restaurant, right? Or whatever it might be. So they type up their message, and they already have agreement from you all to receive those messages, and they send. They have your phone number, your agreement, and they send that Taco Tuesday message out. And it goes out into like the black hole of whatever happens. And then seconds later, it's not even seconds later, 1 or 2 seconds later, you can be across the country and you get a text message. Here it comes, right? Airline message, your flight is late, whatever. Okay. Crazy that this works just flawlessly by the millions every hour. However, whenever there's a gateway like that, right? And this gateway functions like this. You're on the software, you send the message, it goes out into the carrier network. And when we say carriers, we mean the wireless carriers, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and a bunch of other little ones that kind of hitch a ride on the big ones. But, and then those suss it out. They say, hey, Jack or James, AT&T, send them this little message. And AT&T does this. Now, in this process, that message is approved, right? Just like sending a piece of mail, right? The
Yep.
postman won't pick up a piece of mail if it doesn't have the right stuff on it, stamp or whatever.
Or they'll return it. Nope.
Right.
Not the
He'll
right
return it. He'll kick it back.
Mhm.
Think of it as the same way as when you send a text message from a brand to a person. All those, there's a bunch of things that need, a bunch of levers that need to be pulled the right way.
Mhm.
And that message needs to be kind of approved and all that.
Mhm.
So you've been seeing this thing in our industry called iOS 26. So today, before iOS 26 gets rolled out, the carriers have a responsibility when a message comes in and it's like nefarious, right? Trying to convince senior citizens by text to give them a credit card number. The carriers have all these little filters, right? And these filters can kind of pick up on that.
Mhm.
But guess what? The bad people can move sometimes faster than the carriers.
Yep, for sure.
And so bad people are good at what they do, and the carriers can't get everything. So I mean, that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
You know, the crooks can sometimes move a little faster than these big corporations, AT&T and these guys. And so Apple has taken it upon themselves to say, hey, and I'll just say that, I'll hold my beer.
Yeah.
Hey, carriers, I'll help. And so at the device level, right?
Yeah, on
your phone, Apple has decided to say, I'm going to help this problem with bad people texting you. And I'm going to put some other safeguards in place through this new software package, iOS 26. The problem is there's everybody becomes an unknown sender is how they're calling it, right? So your doctor's office? Yep, unknown sender.
Mhm.
What is it, Grease Monkey or Minute Lube? Yep.
Mhm.
Your phone doesn't know who they are at this point.
Mhm.
And all these other things, brands, nonprofits, I'm a big fan of Cotopaxi and Marine Layer. Those are great texting brands that send text. All of those will be unknown senders and put into a penalty box on your phone, unseen by you. And everybody's flipping out about this. Can you imagine, when people get a text message from a brand and it's an offer, those brands make a lot of money from those text message offers. Buy one, get one free and things. Imagine if that stops.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal. And we just published a case study. We went through and looked at some numbers. $38 million we've seen raised, through text message in the last trailing 12 months. So we've got some significant amount of money raised with these customers that we did this case study with. And that was contingent upon them getting the message to the right person at the right time in such a way that inspired trust. Like, okay, I know who this is, right? Can you imagine getting a text message, Jack, from a phone number that says spam likely? You've seen those before, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it says spam likely. It has an unrecognizable link, comes from an unknown person, right? And it's asking you for $100. Would you do that? Would you donate $100?
No.
Okay. Now, what if they said in the message, well, I promise this is Jane from, Salvation Army or whatever. Would you give them? I promise. It's Jane.
I might.
Yeah. You might. A lot of people do.
Like
But
my dad does. My dad's an old dude, and he's been given to I'm not going to name the nonprofit. I'm not
sure.
Gonna, but they call him, and there's other tangential ones that look like that are texting him every day.
Yeah.
And
I laugh because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Because I just talked to we mentioned this in a few episodes back.
Yeah.
We were talking recently. Remember, you met with them too. But that group that had 100 and something thousand taken fraudulently from their base because they were on a platform that didn't have the right set up in such a way that their caller ID was shown,
right?
Their logo came across. They were using unbranded short links, just little things like that. Again, these are a little bit more technical. We can talk about it, but there's multiple dominoes to getting a message out. So to your point earlier about the gateway. A gateway is important to a business because a business is not sitting down. The doctor's not going to take out his phone and text, all of his appointments for the next week.
Right.
Heaven forbid, maybe in a small town, but not big, not sharp here in San Diego. They're not going to sit down and do this. And the amount of security risks that would mean that now all the patient data is on this device that could be lifted and taken off the facility. That's a no. That's a huge no, right? Mm-hmm. HIPAA and SOC 2 and all these regulations exist for companies to protect their data. So they cannot let the data just live on a doctor's phone or on a foundation's phone or on a nonprofit's phone, right? So there's data layer protection security concerns. There's just pure, I have more than 5 people to text today. I can't do it I need to move it to a computer software, right? Now, these gateways like Rallycore can send tens of thousands of messages a second because we have permission from the carriers, and we say, hey, you're an approved vendor. So when someone uploads a spreadsheet and hits send, we can deliver, I think, 30, 40,000 messages inside of 30 minutes, like super fast, right? Well, to get that level of permission from the carriers for AT&T and Verizon, T-Mobile, Singler, whatever, to say, hey, you know what? We bless you, RallyCorp. You're a good people, right? And they literally put me through the ringer. So just so you know, this was not easy, Jack, right?
Yeah.
I used to have 4 kids. Now I only have 3. I sent them my firstborn. Okay.
Yeah.
So I sent him my firstborn. Boy, I loved that kid. But you know, the
When
sacrifices we
AT&T
make,
wanted him, yeah.
the sacrifices we make to get our messages out, right?
That's right.
So anyway, so now I have 3 kids and it's great. I reduced my cost of feeding them anyway. So they got my firstborn. They took a pint of blood, right? But seriously, all joking aside, we've had through security audits, all kinds of stuff to get approved. Took us 3 months and tens of thousands of dollars in fees. It was a nightmare. And what's so discouraging, Jack, is that we did it all right. Right. And which means now we can send tens of thousands of messages within just a few minutes. Our customers get the benefit of that. They don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars for those approvals. We're in, they're good, we're good. Right. Now, we still, on my phone, I get scam and spam.
I know.
So it's like, how in the
Every day.
world? Every day. So I have a big brothers, big sisters outfit. There's like 11 of them that came over with us. And man, and of course, 8 of them got approved right away. 2 of them got pushed back. And I'm like, okay, these are legitimate organizations doing mentoring and good stuff in good cities. And you're going to kick back their application and want to tweak the terms of service. No problem. We'll do it. It's no big deal. It's like 30 minutes of my time. Okay. But
Sure.
I found it funny that they were going to kick back a legitimate organization for not using the right verb tense in the terms of service, right? Literally. That was what it was. They didn't like the AI or whatever, didn't like that. But in that same afternoon, I got like a bunch of scam. So I'm like, hey, why don't you quit messing with these good people, right? And why don't you go get these folks that are doing this nonsense, right? To which they said, Jack, I tell you what, we will come Apple to the rescue. And thank God, I'm an Apple user. I'm excited about it. I'm really thrilled because this means that hopefully I can start bringing up my phone and seeing messages from people I want to see. And it'll be a one tap known sender. Like you can just tap like, okay, I know this person. This is the person I met, you know, and I want them in my phone. So they're going to make it easier to do that one tap, but you have to know that the message is there and you have to tap that known sender.
Right.
So you have to go that kind of like that second folder. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I call it the penalty box. But there's an unknown sender folder that'll be. I'm an Android user, so but from what I understand, from the initial like pilots that people have done, that there'll be an unknown sender folder, and you'll have to go there and pick them off, right? But you got to be careful, right? You know, in looking at those, and I share that frustration. It's for years we've jumped through hoops to make sure that, you know, I mean, I don't want to talk about how the carriers actually filter messages because I don't want to give the bad guys any news here. But you know, for years you had like a word like you know, there are nonprofits out there that work on gun violence, for example, like are really working on that.
And the national campaign to end school violence is on our platform. So we run into this all the time with them.
And they put the word gun in a text message and it gets blocked. And then I get a text message saying that my U.S. Postal Service shipment needs 57 more cents of postage. Put my credit card in from this link, you know, and it looks pretty convincing. You hit the one time I actually hit the link. I'm like, okay, I'm taking a risk. And they mimicked the USPS website.
Yeah.
And so but if they get 1 out of 100 to give them their credit card number, that the scammers know this, right? And they make money from that. And so I'm actually really, really happy now from a text industry software perspective.
Gotta be running for the hills.
Man, there's a lot in the balance, right? And so Rally, the way to do this, the way through this big mess is simply this: send along a VCard.
Yeah.
And James, you rolled this out. What a VCard is, it's a small little, I guess, link or
it's a little file, file, virtual card
a little file that comes through on the text message, and you can click it and add that person to your contact list. On an iPhone, when someone is in your contact list and this situation happens, this iOS 26 happens, if someone's a known sender by being in your contact list, they can't be an unknown sender. Ta-da, magic, right? And so, and VCards work on Android devices and iPhone devices, and VCards are a common contact format. And so So James, talk a little bit more about that. You developed it, and you've got customers using it at
Yeah,
Rally.
very
So
well received.
yeah,
Yeah. So and there's a multiple dominoes. October, I don't know, Jack, you have to remind me of the year. It was not 2024. It might have been as far back as 2022, but I'm my I don't know. I need another cup of coffee. I'm forgetting. But anyway, it's at some point right before the big giving season for most nonprofits. So just if you're not in nonprofits, just so you know, most nonprofits raise most of their money at the last quarter of the year, right?
hmm
I think I've talked to organizations that raise over 50% of their budget in the last like month and a half of the
yeah,
year. It's a big deal, right?
yes,
That's when most of us are thinking about tax planning, and we've got the packet back from the CPA, and he's like, you know, you're going to have to either pay Uncle Sam, or you can either be you can be a philanthropist and give a little bit of money away, or you can just pay a bunch of taxes and let the government just do what they want to with it. So
right,
a lot of folks with corporate strategy or tax strategies are thinking about end of year. So needless to say, it's a big time. So right before that, Jack, they came out and said, oh, by the way, we now require registration for all systems that send over the internet, what's called A2P, automated to person text messaging. It's because we're going to regulate that. And a ton of companies out there that were like adding SMS to their CRM, like, oh, we're a CRM and we got texting. Like, there's so many out there that do that. None of them, they were all caught with their pants down, excuse the expression, but that's what they were. They were naked from the waist down. And all their customers came to us because it turns out none of their messages were being delivered, right? So I went to market, Jack, and I was like, okay, I'll tell you what, I guarantee delivery. I will pay up to 10,000 to send 10,000 messages if you don't get a 15% click, like we're tracking click down to the phone. If 15% out of 10,000 people don't click that link, I will pay for it. And you can do it again. And guess what happens the second time? I'll pay for it again, right? I don't care. I'll show you that I got this down. We were cleaning up, man. Our company shot through the roof because while everybody else was playing with SMS like part-time with some dude in the corner, we got a whole team and that's all we do, right? I got a
yeah,
compliance person on staff, for Christ's sake. Like, who has a compliance person on staff, right?
yeah, yeah,
So we have all these people. It's what we do. We live and breathe. I mean, that's what we do, right? So we picked up all these customers and it was fantastic. That was the first domino, is registration. Second domino we nailed was, okay, now that we've got registration, we want to do caller ID. We want to do no sender. We did this process called KYC, no, I call it know thy customer, like King James version of
right. Yeah, know your
KYC, know your
customer.
customer. So the know your customer process was they get a special permission from the carriers that I certify that I know who my senders are. Therefore, they all participate. And that was the second thing we did well, Jack, because now all these nonprofits that were signing up at these simple texting and easy texting, and I'll just name them, they're great tools, but they're set up for like 2,000 messages a day, right? That works for a flower shop. That's not going to work for the American Red Cross. Just won't
Right,
work, right?
right,
There's a disaster in the hurricanes. Number one, you need priority send traffic. Number two, you need volume, and you don't need to be worried about and number three, you need your messages to go out at 2 a.m. And guess what? These other tools will limit you. They won't do that. They will not
right.
send your message outside of a strict sending window because your use case is commerce and our use case is emergency alerts, right? So special permission on the network, special setup configuration, special registration with the TCR, all those acronyms to say a lot of work, a lot of expense, but we nailed it. Second thing we did right, second domino, we know we register you with the proper authority, but we also have the correct send throughput and the correct name and branding and all that. Then we started working, Jack, on the third domino, and that was customer specific brands and specific URLs. So we registered a couple. So when a customer signs up for us and uses give.now, short link that we own, we certify that we know who that customer is. So our short links, somebody can't just go out and give.now and sign up. Only us can use that. Fundraise.link, RSVP.link, all those links that we bought and registered, those are certified. And there's a little symbol we show are in the sending process, so that when you get that link, you can trust it. Because Rally has said, I have looked into the whites of their eyes and I know who they are. And there's like a 4-step process that we do. We won't let anybody sign up with Gmail. They have to use the domain. They have to add a little thing on the website that we prove that they own the domain. So a lot of things that we do. Okay. Anyway, so that was the third domino. The fourth one, Jack, which I'm really excited about, is this VCard. Now, all that to say, VCard, VCARD, stands for virtual card. VCARD.rallycorp.com. You can go get your free one, which, by the way, the example there, if you download it, is my contact card. So I'll be in your phone, and that's my cell phone. So feel free to call me if you have questions. But vcard.rallycorp.com to create your contact card. So what Rally has done is we've made it one tap within our platform to do a welcome series to welcome everybody to your phone, right? Or to your text alert program. So we can do the volume and we can get it in front of people before this change mid-September. Because after this change mid-September, you can still send your contact card, but you're going to be in the penalty box and for at least the iPhone users, right? The other thing, Jack, we started doing is now when our customers log in, they can run their list through a quick check, and we can tell them which ones are iPhones and which ones are Androids.
Wow,
Isn't that
really?
crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew
So we
we
can,
I knew we could do that in the
yeah,
past, but we haven't really made that public, right?
yeah, yeah. So
That's
now they can
important.
now they'll know that okay, Jack's on AT&T, and Jack has an Android.
Yeah, perfect.
And by the way, Jack, you need to update your Android. I just
I
looked at
know.
those numbers. Okay. I just looked at your stat. And we did that in part because when customers called said, this person's not getting our text messages, which I love,
Yeah,
I can say, okay, you know what? I tell you what, why don't we look at that sender or that receiver rather? Let's see what version they're on. Let's see where they're at. And it's actually pretty interesting because I just had a customer that was having some issues with delivery. And it turns out that every phone was on the singular wireless network and they were all clustered in one particular area of this community. So I brought up the singular wireless coverage map on the website, and sure enough, big black area around this little tiny area in Colorado, and in the state, and I'm like, hey, I mean, no disrespect, but singular wireless themselves are telling you that there's coverage issues out here. So Rally's great, but we're not that great, right? It's not like I own
right,
my own tower. I mean,
right.
I'd
Yeah,
love.
exactly.
I'm not going to call my developer, hey Jack, while you're on your way through, can you swing by and pick up a new tower? And I mean,
Mhm.
no disrespect, but I'm like, that's just that's messaging. So what we did for that customer is we began to think about how do we make sure that we segment those people ahead of time, right? So that we can hit them in various channels. We can do push notification. We can get those people to opt into push. We can get those people to opt into, email. There's other channels besides
Sure.
texting, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, all that to say that gives you the insights as to why my messages are not being delivered. Is it a carrier problem? Is it a network? Is it a coverage issue?
Mhm.
Is it everybody is, on old phones? Like
Mhm.
what's going on? So that visibility allows you to start making really smart decisions to ensure your message gets delivered.
Yeah. I'm curious, and I don't know the answer to this, but as you were just finishing that, I was wondering, at Rally we get error codes,
Hmm.
right? Well, if you try to send a message to somebody and for some reason it doesn't get delivered,
Yeah.
each carrier, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, uh,
Hmm.
AT&T, they have a set of error codes that they send back, and you can kind of decipher
Yep. Yep. Yep.
what's up, right? It's kind of like the 404, right?
Yeah.
You get on websites, but it's a little different. I wonder if somebody goes to an unknown sender file. I doubt it. You know
I
where
don't
I'm
know.
going with this?
Yeah.
If they go to an
Let's find
unknown
out.
sender file, if
Yeah.
the phone would have to send a signal back to
Hmm.
Rally that it went to the unknown
Yeah.
sender file. I doubt that. And
My assumption is no, and here's why. AT&T makes it very hard. They do not there's not a document out there of their security process because they keep it very,
exactly.
very they obfuscate it. They don't want people knowing because then you just engineer around it, right? If I told you like, oh, you can break into my house if you just go around the back and there's a loose window and this is the, like
Yeah.
this is how I protect my windows, then you would know how to mitigate or how to work around that rather, right? So, and the second thing is I'm sorry, Apple is not incentivized whatsoever. Um,
Yeah, right, to increase, and that would just increase cost and dev and everything else. And they also don't want to tell a spammer that they're getting put into the penalty box,
mhm.
because then the spammer, like you said, will try to
Yeah,
engineer around it and things like that.
yeah.
It is, but it's going to be an interesting thing. I think that if you're a text company, and we know there's in this industry, there are a lot of people that do it the right way, and we
There
know
is.
those companies, and we we never, like I never bash great text companies, only
Mhm.
because we want, it's a healthy ecosystem for all,
Yeah.
right? And so we want that.
And we take it, and Jack, we kind of go a little bit overboard here. I mean, we're a smaller company, get it? I mean, but we take it very, very serious. So when a customer first signs up, we assign a score. You get the trust score from the carriers. They assign you what's called a trust score.
Yeah.
And it's usually like 70, 75 is kind of out of the gate.
Mhm.
And we'll share that number with you, and then we help you increase that over time, right? And all that does is that helps you ensure that your messages are not more highly filtered, right? And as that
Sure.
starts to ratchet down, there's some strategies to get it back up or to file an appeal. So we can help you with all that. It's not difficult.
Mhm.
But we go beyond that, Jack, because when a customer first signs up, we assign a score about did I talk to Jack? Do I know? And so I spend a lot of time with our customers, so a lot of them I know really well, right?
Sure.
In fact, I think you started this when you were working more in the pipeline initially. You're like, no, it's not Acme Foundation. It's Acme Foundation Jill Kemper. right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that change. That was in line with our values as a company, because no longer was it about Acme, it was about Jill or Jane or whatever,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we started referring to deals as people, because it's not a deal, it's a person. And I would say in our reviews, if you remember, what was Jill's biggest complaint? Like, what is her challenge? Where is she
Right.
going? What are Jill's goals, right? And so we refer to customers by name. Well,
Right.
what that means now is that literally our team will say, hey, customer so-and-so is having a problem, and they'll name the organization. I'm like, that's great.
No idea.
No idea who that is. Oh, it's Caprice. Oh, I know who that
Oh,
is.
okay. Yep.
I get it. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love her.
That's
She's doing
crazy.
well. Yeah. I love it. So putting the person back. So we're human centered, right? So putting the
Sure.
person back in. But what that has meant, Jack, is that we score customers now based on how well we know them, and they're in our own penalty box. So we have a tool called Slack. So when you create a campaign or rally, it writes it out to Slack, and we monitor it. Our team is always watching the messages going out. I get my phone automatically, and I don't know if I'll keep doing this because it's kind of getting insane, but my phone is automatically added to every campaign in our system. So if a customer's in the score, every message they send, I get as the CEO. So some days I'll wake up like, whoa, who wrote that? Like, that's terrible. And then I can push a button and like, oh, that's one of my customers. So then I'll reach out and say, hey, no disrespect, but no one's you probably didn't do well on that campaign, right? Because so my phone's blowing up all the time, because I tell the developers, I'm just like, make my phone, primary on every account, just append it so it's always there. Anyway, so we do real-time checking of the message quality and make sure we don't have scam. And then we do Slack message review, and then we have an AI that can climb through and look for things and signal, and that we do that. So we're doing our own part to mitigate this, because I think it's important. Like, if you're gonna empower organizations to send 30,000 messages in 30 minutes, and that's my reputation on the line, right? I'm building my company around this. That I'll be damned if I let someone scam a bunch of our senior citizens, right? And they've tried. There was a time. If you remember, we had 20, 30, 40 people a month trying to get through our security systems.
Yeah.
And so we're like, nope, all new accounts can only send 100 messages until they're unlocked. All new accounts can have to be reviewed until they're at 100,000 messages, and their score bumps up. So, things like that, we're always, because I think we should mitigate this stuff. We owe it to the population to send permission messages from known people, and bad actors.
Well, and if you're a fly by night text company that uses, and I won't mention them, but uses kind of a provider that gives you basically everything, and you just kind of rebrand it, right? And there's a lot of text companies out there like that. Beware, because in 2 weeks, if that company doesn't have a methodology and a strategy to address iOS 26, more than half of your text messages will be put into that penalty box, that unknown sender, and your revenue and whatever else is tied to that message, right? Soccer practice. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of use cases out there, from doctors to sports text sports apps and text messages to all kinds of like critical alerts that for schools and whatnot. If this is just a warning, if your text provider hasn't been talking to you about this already, it's too late.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out, you got to figure it out with them, or migrate to someone that is addressing it. And of course, Rally, we're here to help, nonprofit focused, but we can also, if you're a big company or whatever, and you want some honest, neutral advice, we're here to help you walk through this. I mean, you and I
really want neutral advice. Yeah. Bobin Consulting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, you reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Bobin Consulting, Jack Bobin on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I do a little bit of text consulting once in a while. Yeah.
I've told you not to send me anybody unless we can nail it. So
that's right. But it's really important, and people are raising the flag and pulling the fire alarm on this deal for good reason, because in 2 weeks there's going to be a lot of people that haven't watched our video or haven't watched great videos from Cinch, Infobip, these other kind of big monsters of this industry. If those people are going to be caught, and we don't want you caught. So
So we want to be prepared. But here's the thing, Jack: push on your phone, push notifications.
Yeah,
free.
Yep.
Branded links, sending your own branded link with your name on it. What is it? Name cheap, $6, $7 a year for a domain, right? I'll register it for you. I'll pay for it. It's
easy,
cheap. It's easy. So branded links, cheap, whatever. Known sender, $50. Like, it's not hard, right? To register these services. Right. So, but work with a vendor that will help you figure that out. Just call your vendor and say, hey, I want to send branded links. And I want my name to be in the link. What I mean is, I want the link to say, cancer link or, American cancer, whatever. I want it to be
Right.
short and recognizable, right?
Right.
So branded links, not hard to do. Push notifications, easy enough. Like multiple channels, multiple touch. Just be trustworthy and work with a vendor that can help you figure that out, whether it's Rally or not. Just figure out how to get ahead
Sure.
of this thing. So,
Yeah.
well, I know we're at time, Jack. We got to bounce. Anything you want to close us out with as we end our time here?
We this was a little bit of a doom and gloom kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I do want to say though that there's nothing like a text.
Yeah.
And when you do it right and you do it, we've talked a little bit about it, do it right with the right tempo and the right human-centered message. There's nothing that will reach your customer, your donor, your supporter like a well done text message.
It's a powerful weapon.
Right. And because it's such a powerful weapon, there's Iowa, Apple and this new upgrade is putting some things in place to protect that.
Yeah.
So we want to make it all doom and gloom here. I've been doing this 15 years. You have too. We're here for a reason, and it's a great service for brands and nonprofits.
Yeah. I could, and you know this, Jack, I could care less about text messaging personally, right?
Yeah.
I've said this before and I'm on record saying this. I took $1 million of my personal money and I went to a small team of when I sold my last business, I brought some of the same team. And I'm like, I'm going to invest $1 million to move 20 million people to donate $1 billion. And I'm a tech guy, so that meant some kind of technology, right? But what do we need to build to grow 20 million people to donate $1 billion straight up? And I didn't really want to do that with like window cleaning companies, right?
Sure.
I wanted to be, there was a degree of altruism to that. Like I want to work with organizations that are doing social good, cause-based, tech for good. So let's just go do this thing. And it was 18 months before we landed on text messaging, right? Like I was actually a little opposed to it at first. Again, I've shared this before. There's a blog post about it. And I was like, nah, let's not do texting. It's already been, number one, it's already been done, right? But when I looked at the texting tools that were out there and how lack of human-centered they were, and I looked at the various technologies, it became clear that there was no medium or channel that was more effective in moving 20 million people to donate $1 billion. It's nothing. We couldn't do it. So text it was, nonprofits it was, and off to the races we were doing it. Right now, I'm not a text guy. I mean, I kind of am. I had to become one along the journey here, but I brought guys like you in because you've got the expertise. Right?
Yeah.
Like I think you had to explain things to me. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I didn't know that's how that worked.
Yeah, because I'm crazy. I mean, I'm crazy.
I had to buy that book on eBay behind me. It's out of print now. It was like $50. I sent you one, I think, right?
Yeah, I have that same book.
Yeah, that's out of print. So I was like, I had to buy a silly book. Like, what does this mean again? Like, anyway, so like, I'm not a text guy looking for a market. I'm passionate about moving people to act in the moment. QR codes, tap to donate, text to donate, whatever. They got their phone, meet them in the moment. And the minute someone proves to me that carrier pigeons or ice picks or something else will do better. Smoke signals. And guess what? We'll be doing that.
Sure.
Right? Because anyway, I'm just so over it.
Back to Morse code.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to send Morse codes and carrier pigeons to your folks, you go right ahead. Right. We'll see how that works out for you. Just make sure you're measuring the results. All right, Jack, I'll leave it with that. Your Rally Point podcast, swing by rallycorp.com. I'm excited that we are now launching a new workshop series. So by the time this publishes, be on the live stream today, but once it publishes, people can take a quick little workshop course for a small fee to identify whether text messaging is right for them. Because some people don't want to jump into a plan or go through all that process. I mean, there's some risk on that. So I'm telling people, just take the little course. It's not hard. It'll take 90 minutes of your time. I'll be there personally to answer questions live with every workshop we do. So we'll be there to answer questions, and we'll just, because if it's not right for you, don't do it. Right?
That's right.
Do something else. I talked a lady this week out of text messaging. You'd kill me, Jack, but like she was so apprehensive and she wasn't sure. I'm like, don't do it. Like, it's okay.
Human-centered. It's human-centered, actually.
Yeah. Like I'd rather you just not sign up than be miserable. Like if you're not convinced, I'm not going to convince you. Right.
Right.
All right. Jack, thanks as always, my friend. Have a great day.
You bet.